Jillian Mayen here for BTN.com alongside Jon Crispin, and it's a very exciting day because Jon gets to hand out his all Big Ten team at the midseason point. So Jon, who are the lucky players in the Big Ten that get to make your all Big Ten team?
Well, I want to go back to the start of this season. The preseason player of the year was Nigel Hayes. He made my list, of course, but he basically said this was a nonsensical award, right? It was a stupid award. It doesn't really mean anything. These mean even less. I'm telling you that right now. These mean even less, even though I do think that these guys are very well going to be there at the end of the season. And I'll start with Nigel Hayes. I mean, Nigel Hayes, he does a little bit of everything really well. And I think he's taken a lesser role with this team than he probably could on other teams, not just because of the system that they run, but he's got weapons around him. And you got to credit a kid like that for taking a lesser role on such a high-level team at a point in his career where he comes back for senior season and a lot is expected. There's a lot of pressure. There's expectation, and he needs to be the star. So I give him a lot of credit. He's performed in a variety of ways, not just shooting the basketball and scoring and getting to the foul line, but he shares the basketball very well. And when he's the facilitator, I think that's when Wisconsin's at their best.
They've certainly been impressive, and you're right. That's the thing that I always take away from looking at Nigel Hayes, because heading into the season, he was such a headlining athlete, and you looked at Wisconsin and it was almost synonymous, but really they've been able to distribute the ball so well and get so much production from so many of those guys that really he's almost kind of, I don't want to say he's faded into the background, but he definitely, you hear his name less than you have in years past.
No doubt.
So who is your second choice on the All Big Ten team?
I'm not going in any real order, so I'm going to go back to my point guard, and that's Melo Trimble. It's not just what he can do, especially offensively with the ball screen. I think he's one of the best ball screen point guards in the country, up there with Frank Mason. The issue with him is now leadership, and I say issue in terms of a positive thing. He's the leader of a young team, and this young team is performing. He's not a vocal guy. And I think having Anthony Cowan, who I said earlier is a great defender, having him play on-the-ball defense and take the point guard duties over from time to time, it allows Melo to play off the ball and be a threat, not just with the ball, but without the ball. And I think he's taken on the new role. I think he's been a better leader. I think he makes big plays down the stretch when he needs to, but he also defers when he's able to. And that says a lot about the maturation of a kid. And I think Melo Trimble doesn't get enough credit for what he really does on the floor, especially just being how good he is with the ball and then him playing without the ball so much this year.
Another player that I think doesn't get a lot of credit, and I know Iowa fans are very upset about this, would be Peter Jok, and I know he made your list.
Oh, he made my list, and you can't take a team that's not winning at a high level and say, well, the leading scorer of the Big Ten is not going to be on this list because they're not winning basketball games. Look, he's got a young core. I mean, they're going to start four freshmen with Peter Jok, and what that does is it makes it difficult for Peter Jok to even get open because young freshmen, as we discussed before, they don't understand how to execute perfectly. They don't. They don't understand how to get in position and set hard screens, sprint to a high ball screen, instead of just walk up to it with your hand up. It's stuff that they're going to learn, and Peter Jok has done a great job scoring, not just coming off of screens and catching and firing the way he did last year, but putting the ball on the floor, working without the ball, and then making a play for himself. And I think that's something that it really goes kind of unnoticed. You see the scoring numbers, but you don't realize how much he's creating for himself because he doesn't really have there are playmakers there, but I don't want to take away from them. They're playmakers, but they're not the same as having a junior or senior.
All right, who are your last two on the list? You got to have a Boilermaker on there.
I certainly do, and that's Caleb Swanigan. I mean, come on, that's impossible. This guy's up for National Player of the Year, and there's a reason why. I don't just look at his production and say, that's why. Oh, 20 and 20 is amazing, but that's not it. It's why he's getting 20. It's how he's getting 20. You got to go back to when he was 150 pounds heavier. The guy lost a ton of weight. He got his fitness right. He bought into actually being better physically, and he seems to continue to do that every day. After a game, what does he do? He lifts. He gets his body in recovery mode. He works out in warm-ups like he's training for a marathon. I mean, this guy really works, and that's why he goes out and gets 20 and 20. So it's not just what he does for his team, it's what he does for himself, to make himself better, to challenge his teammates to be better. Because I think Isaac Haas is getting better and better because of what he's being pushed with Caleb Swanigan.
So does Isaac Haas make your list?
Isaac Haas does not make my list.
Okay.
And I think Isaac Haas is becoming like a great sixth man. Even though he's starting, he's becoming more and more like a sixth man, where he's deferred a little bit. Who makes my list is Ethan Happ. And Ethan Happ, I'm not a stats guy. I really am not a stats guy in any way, but I look at 13 points a game, 9 rebounds a game, 3 assists a game, and 2 steals a game. This guy does everything for a team in which Nigel Hayes already does everything. So the steals in the post, defending the post. He's not a real center, but he plays a lot of back to the basket. If he develops a jump shot, he's going to be one of the best players to come out of Wisconsin. And there's been some good ones, including Frank Kaminsky. But his game down low in the post is impossible to stop. And because of his size, meaning he's not a 6'11", 7-footer, he may not always get double teams. And because of what they've got around him, he's not going to get double teamed. So he's such a threat, but fills up the stat sheet in every single way. You can't not have him on the list.
All right, well, there you go. There's Jon's all Big Ten mid-season list.
Hard to argue with that list.
It is. It's very tough.
There's probably a lot of other ones, but you can't argue with it.
It's very tough. I'm sure somebody will find a way to argue with you, though, on
probably.
that one. All right, Jon, thank you so much. For more highlights, news, and analysis in the Big Ten hoops, head to btn.com.